Hello there. I'm Scotty. It looks like I'm just pouring it onto my table, and then that's what it looks like. Well, I am. It's all over my feet now because it's dripping through the thing. Yep, I just poured it all over my table. No. That's right. One last time, Pennywise comes out to play. Welcome back to Halloween Horror Months, and if you're watching this on the day it premieres, Happy Halloween! Yes, and as we do every Halloween for the last, this is the third year in a row that we did this. Back in 2022, I did the first Halloween, and then a few months later, I did the second one, revisiting them. Last year, I visited the third one with the Groby, who was unable to be with us this year. He moved away. Yes, he go bye-bye. Still talk to him, no, but he moved away, so he's not here. I was going to have him be in this, and the two Friday the 13th ones I have to do this year, if I still do them. I probably am. They'll just probably be in November instead of... Well, I can record them in November and have it up for, I don't know. It's 3 videos on the same day when you think of the Disney thing. I don't know what I'm doing after that. But we are now talking about Halloween 4. The Return of Michael Myers. Yes, Michael. Yes, Michael. Michael returns. So does Dr. Loomis. Even though he should be dead. Yes. Halloween 2 was it. That was it. Michael Myers and Dr. Loomis were dead. They were dead to rights. And then they decided to do Halloween 3, and then this was going to be an anthology film series from now on. Now, of course, a lot of people didn't care for Halloween 3, even though it is a pretty good movie. The Groby didn't care for it either. But I think it's good. It's one of those B horror movies that I like those. So, yeah, I think it's good. But everybody's like, oh, there's no Michael Myers in it, so it sucks. He was one of those. But I think it's a good movie. Tom Atkins makes the movie for me, you know. He does. So, when that pissed people off, they wanted to bring back the franchise. Mustafa Akkad was like, you have to bring back Michael Myers. So they did that. They reached out to John Carpenter. He came up with a pitch that was more cerebral, where it's like Michael is like a haunting force on the town. Like it's a dark kind of force that would sort of haunt over Haddonfield. Akkad said, no, we want Michael Myers back. So Carpenter left. They got Alan P. McElroy, who wrote the latest Wrong Turn movie, and the original. Yeah, and to rewrite the script in a very short amount of time because of an impending writer's strike. And so in 1988, not 1987 like the disc wrongly says. Yeah, it says 1987 on the disc. 1988, the year after my birth. We got Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. I like this movie, but even I can admit there are issues. Like, the last time we saw Michael Myers and Dr. Loomis, explosion. It's time, Michael. Michael summers out and then falls to his death. I can buy Michael Myers surviving this. I can buy he survived this. I remember the first time I watched this movie. Like, Michael survived. Okay, sure. I didn't remember till watching this. They do mention Dr. Loomis in this opening scene. I just figured he was dead. And then when they show him, I'm like, wait. How the hell is he alive? You know what I mean? Like, there's no way. And if you really think about it, okay? Really think about it. If you really think about it, it makes no sense. Michael surviving makes no sense to begin with, but when you think of Dr. Loomis being right there, in the line of fire, when he hit that, he was engulfed in flames and would have immolated himself. He'd have been deader then he'd be deep fried Loomis is what he'd be. I can buy Michael Myers surviving, but I do not buy Loomis surviving. I have scars on my face. That's it. Some of my arms. No, God damn you. No, that's not how that works. He would be dead. Right? But not only that, so we get the scene. These paramedics have come to transport Michael Myers to Smith's Grove, to Smith's Grove, or from Smith to Smith's Grove. One of the two. He's been sort of comatose. He's been sort of non-complacent, just, since what happened. So they're transferring him to another place. We meet this doctor guy, Dr. Hoffman, who is the guy from Rocky Rocky 4, who says, "It's simple. Whatever he hits, he destroys." That guy. It's that guy. Whatever he hits, he destroys. That guy. And he is Michael's doctor here, this Hoffman. I didn't remember paying so much movie, but he does. Because Loomis yells at him, "Damn it, Hoffman!" I'm like, only Hoffman I'm thinking is I would like to see Michael versus Detective Hoffman from the Saw series. You know what I mean? Yeah. Detective Hoffman, he got his face all meshed it up, and then he just like, "I'm fine," showed up. Versus Michael literally being on fire and being perfectly fine. He has burn marks, they forget about that. Yeah, and he has a face wrap at the beginning of this movie. Remember that? Because the filmmakers didn't. Well, I know what they were trying to do, but it still makes no sense. So as they're transferring them, they're just casually talking about, if he has any family members left. And I guess they needed to do that because there could be someone who could be in charge of him. They mentioned he has an 8-year-old niece, around the same age Michael was when everything happened. 8-year-old child, 6-year-old child, whatever. 8-year-old niece. And that wakes Michael up for some reason. And he kills the guy with his thumb and then strangles the lady to death. Yeah. And then we get a scene that makes no sense. So we meet Jamie Lloyd, played by Danielle Harris, who is looking out the window, and the vehicle that Michael was in is out. I think that's what that's supposed to be, right? The vehicle that Michael was in is outside but it makes no sense. Outside the house. And Jamie is worried. We get very bad dialogue explaining to us, because we already got explained that Jamie Lloyd is his niece. It's Laurie's daughter. Laurie died. And they basically explain that here, but very badly. Like, "Rachel, do you love me? Love me like a sister? Like a real sister?" We get it. She's adopted. We get it. We get it. Because if she's his daughter, if she is his niece, then she would have to be Laurie's daughter. And if there's this new family, then Laurie is probably dead. She's a daughter. We get it. We get it. Jimmy Lee Curtis didn't want to come back. We get it. And like I said, that vehicle is outside. I believe that's what it's supposed to be, but it makes no sense. And then she goes upstairs, and she's looking through old pictures, and she put a picture of her mother, Jamie Lee Curtis. It's clearly a publicity still from the first movie. It's clearly what it is. But she's looking at it, and then Michael shows up, wearing his mask. Not just wearing his mask, the mask from this movie. The one from this movie that is not the same as the one from the last movie. I say that because it is actually not the same mask in real life. It is not the same mask in the movie. Because we see later on in the film, I think that's supposed to be real, where he grabs the mask and puts it on. So they should have had another mask. I know it's a production. I know you got a budget. They should have made a mask that looked different than the one that they had to signify the original mask. Because, okay, if it's supposed to be the same mask from the first one, like they took it with them and he grabbed it, whatever. it's the same mask. Then I get it. But this ends up being a completely different mask he buys from a drugstore. Which, yes, does explain why it looks so cheap. Everyone complains about it, but he bought it from a little drugstore. I know he did that in the first one, but still. This is it. At 10 years after the original events, they will be selling a cheap knockoff of the original mask that Michael Myers wore back then. They would be selling cheap knockoffs. It happens. Have you seen my mask? I mean, it's better than the one in this one, but I'm just saying. It's so bad that they don't even use it on the post. They didn't on the posters for this. They used the original mask, which is not what he. But my problem is that she sees Michael here. It ends up being a nightmare, but he's wearing the mask that he hasn't even gotten yet. It should be a different looking mask. The hair is different. Maybe the style of the face is different. It shouldn't be the same mask. Right? So the next morning comes. And Rachel! I'm okay. Rachel is all upset because her mom says she has to babysit Jamie, but she has plans with Brady, boyfriend guy. Who's a jerk, by the way. This dude only wants one thing, and you could tell that's what he wants. Yes, sir. Boing. Anyway, so then she has to take Jamie trick-or-treating because her parents are going to a hoity-toity party thing. Meanwhile, Dr. Loomis shows up at that sanitarium and yells at Dr. Hoffman for what happened, as if it's his fault. Like, damn it, why did you have him transferred? Like, transferring him was what happened. Maybe you should don't talk about his niece in front of him or something, I don't know. And yes, this is where it's now established that he's just gonna hunt down family members for some reason. They try to go into that in the sixth one, but it's not really explained because there's two different cuts in it. I don't know. He's going after family, I guess, to finish the family line. I don't know. Explain it, but yeah. Then we go to the drugstore. Right. So first of all, we meet Rachel's friend Lindsay, who is supposed to be Lindsay Wallace and does jack shit in this movie. She drives him to the drugstore and then she's gone. While there at the drugstore, we meet Brady, boyfriend Brady, who works at the drugstore with the sheriff's daughter, Kelly. And he's got two friends there, Wade, fuck off Wade, and another boy, another kid, who is supposed to be Tommy Doyle. And he does, you guessed it, jack shit in this movie. Tommy and Lindsay should have been the two protagonists of this movie, and you're not going to change my mind at that. Think about it. Step to the end, because I'm going to give you my pitch for what Halloween 4 should have been, instead of just trying to copy the original. Here's what you could have done. Okay? I'll tell you what they could have done. Okay? So anyway, Rachel shows up and she tells Brady, "Oh, I can't bang you tonight." It's basically, that's what they had planned, or at least what he had planned. I gotta take my sister out trick-or-treating. And then I'm gonna point out how big of a fucking idiot Brady is, because it's just, he's fucking stupid. I mean, come on. We'll get to that. So Jamie goes and picks out her costume, and it's like a clown costume, kind of like Michael's was back in the day. And this is where we see Michael gets the mask. I did skip where he killed a bunch of mechanics and stuff. 6 bodies. 6 bodies I've seen between here and Smith's Grove. Yeah. That does come to a little town, Sheriff. You don't have a police force. What's the line I like? Oh, when they're looking at advice, it's like, "You are talking of him as if he were a human being. That part of him died years ago." I love that line. I love that line. Died years ago. I don't remember which one it is, but another one of his lines I like is, I prayed that he would burn in hell. But I knew in my heart, hell would not have him. Love that line. I love that too. Anyway, my throat's getting hoarse with all that Loomis voice. God damn you! One more, I guess. So they go to trick-or-treating. Michael, of course, is stalking him the whole time. He does kill more in this, because it's more slashery than the original. So it's not really verbatim, but yeah. And this is where Brady is a complete fucking idiot. So they're going trick-or-treat from house to house. They meet these friends that Jamie knows. Jamie was getting picked on earlier by people at school. Jamie's uncle's a maniac. But now these kids just want to go trick-or-treating with her. Okay. So they go to Kelly's house, right? Kelly Megan, the sheriff's daughter. And as Kelly's giving out the candy, Brady's just standing there in the background. And this is where he's the biggest fucking idiot in the world. Rachel! I'm okay. I'm good. Sees this. And, yes, understandably, walks off. And then Brady goes to talk to her. And Kelly's like, hey, Brady. I don't know what she says, but he goes to talk to her. And basically what he says is, you blew me off, so I found something new. He's like, well, what else was I supposed to do? Well, how about you don't stand in the doorway? Like, he wasn't in the doorway, but he was in view. Like, okay, I'll say this right now. You should never cheat on your girlfriend, or your wife, or your spouse, or your partner, anyone. Never cheat. But, in the case of Brady, if he's going to try to do this, he's going to try to get away with it, maybe not stand in the middle of the goddamn room when the door's wide open, when you know that your girlfriend is taking her sister trick-or-treating, and you know full well she is going to go to this house because it is her friend's house. If I was him, I wouldn't even be there. I'd be like, you know what? Let me know when she shows up. I'll be at home. Let me know when she shows up. You call me. I'll come over after she shows up. And then bada bing, bada boom. We can bada bing, bada boom. You know what I'm saying? No. And then he goes back. Because, you know, to be honest, I think I would choose those two over those. You know what I mean? By the way, yes, it is a major tease moment. Because we get the sex scene. It's not really a sex scene. She takes her shirt off. And immediately you're like, oh, because she's got a bra on. Okay, sure, whatever. And then she takes it off, and you're like, and then it cuts to behind, and you go, oh. And then immediately she's like, oh, my dad's here. I'm like, okay. So, I understand that Catherine Kinmont, the actress, had a clause in her contract, a no nudity clause. I respect that. I do. Then the directors, or the casting directors, whoever, should have hired someone else who would do nudity. Because teasing us with those things is the biggest cock tease you could have done. Especially, or they could have, taken the sex scene out. Maybe they start to make out, hot and heavy, and then the sheriff comes. Instead of getting that far, and then pulling it right out from under us. And again, I'm not saying you have to show nudity or sexy or anything. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that this feels like deliberate teasing. Like, oh, she has a no nudity clause. Well, let's get as far as we can. But that's teasing your audience, because the audience, specifically horny guys like myself, are going to expect that, especially when she takes her shirt off and she goes to take her bra off. When you cut away then and it's covered the entire time, that feels like a bit middle finger to your audience, where it's like, hey, we teased you with these, you're not gonna get them. That's what it feels like. Just don't do the scene. If you can't do the nudity, don't do the scene, or hire an actress that will do the nudity. I'm just saying. Well, Michael shows up out the side, coming after Jimmy, and Loomis shows up with the gun, right? Of course, he has to have a gun. I shot him 6 times! That's not this movie, but you know, it had itch. Hold on, shoot me. So, they go to the Meeker house where they kind of bunk down with the deputies and everything. I don't know why I sniffed that. Just ignore that. The sheriff is there. And yeah. And then Michael shows up. He kills Brady. But Michael, he didn't have sex. They didn't even start. And he kills Kelly. But she did. Okay, she probably has before. Brady probably has before too, but I don't know. And then, yeah, by the way, Michael has a gun. And he decides to use it like a knife and just. Yeah, he also kills the deputy. He didn't shoot the sheriff, though, so that's good. Yeah. Then there's the rooftop chase, which was originally supposed to be on fire, but they found it too dangerous of a stunt. So instead, there's just a rooftop chase where they fall, and then they think it's over. And there are these, for lack of a better term, rednecks who are hunting down Michael. And the best part with them is when they fire who they think is Michael, they're like, "Oh shit, that's Ted Hollister." That again, that's just like, but unlike Ben Tramer, this is not a character we've heard of before. Where, you know, it's a Carpenter put Ben Tramer in. Oh, but it's Ben Tramer. Have you seen Ben Tramer? He was dressed. No, I don't believe I have. But yeah, and so these redneck guys. Well, he takes her to the school. Is what it is. After this, they take her to the school, and that doesn't work because Michael shows up with a different mask because he has to add another mask that was flesh covered in the face and white haired, and there's one shot of it, and that's when Michael bumps into Dr. Loomis in the hallway, and yeah, you can totally tell. But yeah, by the way, he's yelling at her, "Where's the schoolhouse? Where's the schoolhouse?" What is this, 1943? It's called a schoolhouse. He's old-fashioned, I guess. When I think schoolhouse, I think that one-room schoolhouse with all the desks. It's like a square little house with all the desks. That's what I think when I hear schoolhouse. Okay, I don't know. Loomis is old. And again, was it Donald Pleasance that said that or not? I don't know. But this is where the redneck guys show up and take them on the road. But Michael hops on their tow truck thing, rips the driver's throat out. That's pretty cool effect. So then Rachel has to drive, and she runs Michael off the road. At one point, Rachel is presumed dead because she falls off the goddamn roof back at the Meeker's house. And she's fine. And then she's driving this, and then she runs over Michael Myers. He's not dead, but she runs him over. And it is kind of a funny effect because it's clearly a dummy because it's like it just falls flat over like. Hold on. And then use Harley. Take the ear plug off her. And then use Harley. And let's say this is the truck, okay? It's like it hits him like this and he falls flat. Like it just goes like that. Just like it's clearly a dummy as it just flattens as soon as it goes. Right? It's hilarious. So Michael's not dead though, because then the rednecks show up and shoot the hell out of him, and he falls down a mine shaft. Then he's dead. Yep. Now I bet you're wondering. Yeah. So then we go back to the Carruthers house. You're like, wait, Scotty, you forgot to talk about when they blow him up with the dynamite. That didn't happen in this one. That's the next one. There's no dynamite in this one. Nope, that's the next one. We'll talk about that next year. But, nope, they go back to the Corellis house and we get the best ending to a Halloween movie. The original one is pretty good, but I think this is the best. It's one of my favorite endings to a movie ever, and it sucks they didn't go through with what they were planning on doing. Because Mustafa Akkad says you have to have Michael Myers. He was in the script, but it wasn't good enough, apparently. So, they get there, they're still traumatized, and then Mrs. Carruthers is like, let me take Jamie up for a bath. And so she starts running bathwater, and you get a POV, you get a mask over the face, you get a pair of scissors, and then stabbing the hell out of her. You hear screaming. Loomis goes to it's a landing, and you see Jamie with the costume on, scissors bloodied, just staring blank, pale, emotionless face, and Loomis, no, goes to shoot her, but Meeker steps in and stops him. No. Because it started over. This is a great ending. Too bad they screwed it up with the next one, because damn, this was a good ending. The original pitch for the next one, by the way, was to have Jamie and Michael sort of be like a tag team sort of thing. I guess there was a pitch where it was just Jamie, like you have to have Michael, so they put it in there. They're like, no, just Michael. So what do we do with Jamie? She's mute. And I want to point out here, people complain that she suddenly has psychic powers in that one. But if you pay attention, her nightmares in this one could also be a psychic connection to Michael. I don't understand how she has it, but it makes sense in a way. Like, she has the nightmare about Michael being there, but then Michael ends up in the same shop she is, getting a costume. If there's no psychic connection, how did he find her that quick? Was he just there? Coincidence? I think not. But again, you have to question if that was also real, because you see this big 6-foot dude walking in. Maybe he snuck in. I don't know. And again, if he's got the bandages off, he's still burnt though. I don't know. But I'm going to give this a pretty good, because it's a pretty good movie, but and it's a fun watch. I like to watch this movie. It's one of my favorites, but and a few issues. So here's my pitch of what should have happened. All right? Here's my pitch. So we'll stick with the 10-year time gap from 1978, 1988. Cool. No Dr. Loomis. Loomis is dead. He immolated himself when he did this, and the gas, he's dead. He did not survive. Michael did, but he's comatose, right? So, we are transferring him from one place to another. Dr. Hoffman is instead Dr. Wynn, which makes much more sense, especially when you connect. Why didn't they make Dr. Hoffman the Man in Black in the sixth one? You could have that connection, but then again, he was only in this one, so, It's Dr. Wynn, and he is one who ordered Michael to be transferred. During the transfer, Michael breaks out, kills them, and goes back to Haddonfield. Because he has unfinished business. Right? It's been 10 years. Laurie Strode, we find out that, so our main characters are Tommy Doyle and Lindsay Wallace, and their friends. Lindsay's boyfriend, Chad, we'll call him. Her best friend, Lily. Tommy's best friend, Adam. And some other character. Maybe a couple other high school characters. Maybe even Lonnie. We'll put Lonnie in there. In fact, make Lonnie Lindsay's boyfriend. Because that's a stereotype of things where, like, oh, the guy that picked on... So, because I'm doing the unrequited love thing where Tommy has a thing for Lindsay due to their shared experience. And Lindsay might have something, but she's dating Lonnie because she's the big jock. And Lonnie and Tommy are sort of rivals, sort of thing. I just thought of Lonnie right now. It makes all the sense in the world. He could be Lindsay's boyfriend. you know. Or you can make him Adam, the best friend, Tommy's best friend. But I think him being Lindsay's boyfriend works as sort of a friendly rival type situation. All right, so through some dialogue, it's established that after the events of Halloween 2, or after she graduated high school, because they talk about, oh, weren't you there 10 years ago? Yeah, whatever happened to your babysitter? Well, after she graduated high school, she left town. No one's heard from her. She's presumed dead. No one knows what happened to her. She's just disappeared. Which could also tie into Halloween 6. Or, Halloween H2O. That's what I meant. So, yeah. And so throughout the film, Michael shows up in Haddonfield looking for revenge. He can't find Laurie, so he goes after the next best thing, Tommy and Lindsay. And so I would kind of make Tommy, Lindsay, and Lonnie the last 3 survivors of this. Maybe Lonnie's left for dead, and Tommy helps save Lindsay. Lindsay gets in a good shot or 2. Maybe Lindsay's the one that drives the car, runs him over. The mine shaft thing, they think he's dead. And they think Lonnie's dead, but Lonnie pops back up again. Sort of situation. There's no Loomis. If you need a Dr. Loomis type character, if you really need to have that kind of character, someone running around, a doctor, an adult character, then let's do this. No, it's not going to be Wynn, because I'm still going to do the Cult of Thorn thing, because the 5th one will pick up after this a year later and kind of continue the story. I'd have Lonnie die in that one, and then the Thorn cult would kidnap Lindsay at the end of 5, which would make it legal for her to not only, have a child, because she was, Jamie would be technically underage because she was 16 at the time. She would be close to 18. Maybe she was 17 in this one. She turned 18 in this one. Make that legal. And while sexual assault is never legal, it would not be ewy for Michael to impregnate her. Okay? Like it would be if it was Jamie. She's the one captured by the Cult of Thorn. I'll also have Dr. Wynn be a part of this. Maybe Dr. Wynn shows up in the 5th one as the Loomis character helping him out. Maybe Dr. Wynn is the Loomis character. That wasn't who I was going to suggest, though. I would suggest Dr. Chalice. And I know you're saying, wait, but Halloween was a movie in that universe. Yeah. So, are you going to deny you wouldn't want more Tom Atkins in your life? I don't think so, sir, or ma'am. Or both. Or they. I don't know. Or either. That's what I should have said. Either, not both. Both? They? Is they, them, both? I don't know. I'm a he, him, so that's all I know. I may have boobies, but I'm not. Anyway, yeah, that's my pitch, really. The 6th film would see Tommy trying to track down Lindsay. At first with the help of Dr. Wynn, and then reveal he's in charge. Maybe Dr. Chalice shows up in that one. I don't know. It could be. But I just figured, it's always kind of bugged me, because no way Dr. Loomis should have survived. There's no way. He was right away. He'd be immolated. There's no way. But yeah, that's my review and my pitch for Halloween 4. So, what are your thoughts on Halloween 4? The Return of Michael Myers? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Scotty, and happy Halloween.